Hello everybody, so it's the last day of the Easter weekend and I thought I'd try and squeeze a brew in before I have to go back to work tomorrow. Now, having drunk far too much over the last couple of days, in fact the last couple of weeks to be honest, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to brew something a little bit lighter and more sessionable, and that coinciding with the Harrybrews 69 releasing the recipe for his Vacant gesture beer made me think that would be a good shout for today's brew. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be brewing, and this will be a grain to glass video for my clone of Harrybrews 69 Harrison Brewery's Vacant gesture. Let's get brewing. Okay, so I'm sure most of you who are subscribed to my channel are probably subbed to Harry's as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he manages to put out all the videos that he does, considering that he's running a commercial brewery and a bar and tap room and all of that other stuff. But videos are great, so check out the link above to the video where he actually goes through the recipe for this beer. But obviously, if you aren't subbed already, go and check out the channel, because it's just, there's loads on there, and going back through the home brewing stuff as well, loads of really useful content, as well as all the stuff that's really interesting about the current brewery build and everything else that he gets up to. So yeah, one of my favorite brewing channels, as I'm sure it is many of yours. If you've not seen it, go and check it out basically. But today is all about his beer, Vacant Gesture, which is a blonde ale brewed with Mosaic and Challenger hops and USO5 yeast. So it's a fairly simple recipe, as most good beers are. I've made a few little adjustments based on what I had in stock and so on, and my own system to the recipe that he posted up. The recipe on his video is at the 500 litre scale that he brews at for his brewery and brew pub and whatnot. So I've scaled it down, and it works out as about 2.6 kilos of pale ale malt. Now, I didn't have any extra pale malt, so what I've done is subbed in 1 kilo of Pilsner malt, as well as 1.6 kilos of standard pale ale malt. So it's crisp pale ale, best ale malt that I think I'm using for this one. 270 grams of wheat malt. This is for a 19 litre batch, by the way. So yeah, scaled down 500 to 19 litres. And my setup, this is for 75% efficiency. So yeah, wheat malt, and then the crystal malt, I think Harry specified a 10 Lovibond or 20 EBC crystal malt. The closest I had to that was Caragold, so that's a 12 EBC crystal malt, but it shouldn't make too much of a difference. So 60 grams of that. So yeah, it's basically pale malt, or in this case for me a little bit of Pilsner as well, and a little bit of wheat malt and a touch of crystal malt. So a really nice simple blonde ale grist there. Hopping wise, we've got Challenger for bittering. There's for me that worked out as 16 grams of Challenger, and that gives about 20 IBUs of bitterness for the 60-minute edition. Then there's nothing else in the boil until we get to flame out, where we do a 30-minute steep with 22 grams of Mosaic. Now, the recipe from Harry basically works out as almost, well, yeah, exactly 1 gram per litre for the steeping hops. I've just tweaked it up very slightly, because from what I understand, when you're brewing at that sort of scale, you will get much better hop utilization. So I've basically added about 10% extra hops, which is, hardly anything in this case. It's just a couple of extra grams, but it probably won't make any difference anyway. But I thought I'd just add a slight bit of extra hopping there, just to make up for any shortfall in terms of utilization. So 22 grams of Mosaic at Whirlpool, so 80 degrees temperature for 30 minutes. And after that, obviously pitching the USO5 yeast, and then there's a double dry hop on this, but not crazy amounts of dry hopping, so it's quite a yeah, quite a subtle dry hop by most pale ale standards these days, but split into two, so 33 grams. Again, I've added an extra 10% of hops there. I mean, like I said, it's probably not going to make any difference, that extra 3 grams, but who knows. So 33 grams of Mosaic hops after 5 days. and then 33 grams again for the final 3 days. I think that's how it works out in the video. Anyway, go and check his video recipe out if you want to work it out for yourself. But this is what I've worked towards, and that will give me a OG hopefully of 1036. The target was 26 IBUs with the extra hops that I've added to make up for that utilization factor that I was talking about. Mine's slightly higher at 27.7, but again, that's not a significant amount in terms of bitterness that you're going to notice really. Colour 7.6 EBC. My estimated ABV is coming out at 3.9%, assuming a final gravity of 10.06, which hopefully it will get down to, because the mash temperature is quite low on this one, so it's a 65-degree mash, so it should give a fairly dry finish on the beer. Yeah, so that's it. That's all the important numbers. Let's go and do some brew footage. Okay, so there's the finished product. As you can see, quite light in the glass. It's only been in the keg for a week, but I tasted it straight out of the FV and it was tasting, you know, pretty much good to drink already at that point. So as soon as it had a bit of carb on it, I started getting stuck in, and yeah, I've had quite a bit of it already, to be honest, because it's going down really well. So as I said, nice light colour in the glass, as you would expect with the grist, so there's not anything really to add a huge amount of colour in the grain bill, but it's clearing down really nicely as well already. Yeah, I think if it actually stays in the keg for any longer, it will probably drop completely crystal clear, because it's near enough there already, as you can probably see. Fairly moderate level of carbonation on this, so I'm leaning more towards the sort of cask sort of levels of carbonation on this, rather than the usual amount I would put on to a sort of American pale or something like that. I believe this is brewed mainly as a cask ale, so I thought I'd go similar level to that, which I think suits it well. Yeah, so let's get in and give it a little taste and smell test. On the nose, it's all Mosaic, unsurprisingly, as that's the only hop that goes in late on and in the dry hop. So it's got that nice, dank, kind of mango-y, sort of tropical fruit, slightly funky sort of smell to it that you get from the Mosaic hops. Yeah, reasonably potent aroma for the amount of hops that have gone into the beer, but Mosaic is very fragrant like that. Yeah, that's mainly it. So just Mosaic on the nose, pretty much. And then flavour-wise, again, you just get a big hit of that Mosaic hops there, but really nice, light sort of body and mouthfeel to it. But it's got a nice bit of bitterness too, so there's a bit of a bitter kick to it. You know, just enough to really make you want to go for another sip of it. It's a slightly sort of dry, almost crisp, slightly tart kind of finish on there. It's just a really really nice kind of light session ale, really. Yeah, if I was in a pub and I found this on cask and tasted something like this, I'd definitely be probably staying on that beer for most of the evening, because it's a real easy drinker, very nice, great recipe. I have no idea how close this is to Harrybrews original, but the recipe definitely stands up pretty well as far as I'm concerned, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has come out, to be honest. It's going to be a great, if it makes it into the warmer weather, it's going to be a great warm weather drinking beer, and yeah, just really impressed with the recipe. So thanks very much, Harry Brew, for sharing it, and anyone else who's thinking about maybe doing it, I would definitely recommend it. If you want a nice, light, sort of hoppy session ale for the summer months, it's a great beer for that, I reckon. And I may even send a bottle to the man himself and see what he thinks of it. So cheers, guys, and if you do brew it, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness, or duder, or, you know, El Duderino.